Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Shubha, Assistant Professor in Chemistry from Government PG College for Women, Sector 14, Panchkula. Topic for today's presentation is gaseous state. Among the three states of matter, the gaseous state is the simplest one. Gases shows maximum uniformity in their behavior irrespective of their nature. So gaseous state is characterized by these following physical properties. Number one is gases possess capacity of indefinite expansion. They acquire the volume and shape of the container. Number two is gases are highly compressible. Unlike liquids and solids, gases can be liquefied at low temperatures and high pressures. Gases have very low density under normal conditions of temperature and pressure. Gases intermix spontaneously. This property is also called diffusion. Gases exert pressure on the walls of the container. Gases exert pressure equally in all directions. So these are some physical properties of the gases. Gases which obey the gas laws at all temperatures and pressures are called ideal gases, while the gases which do not obey these laws at all temperature and pressure are called non-ideal gases or real gases. These are some gas laws which I am going to discuss in this presentation. So number one is Boyle's law. This law describes the pressure-volume relationship of gas at constant temperature. It was given by Robert Boyle in 1662. This law states that at constant temperature, volume of a given mass of a gas is inversely proportional to its pressure. For a given volume of a gas at pressure P, V is inversely proportional to pressure. So PV is constant. Let V1 is the volume of a given mass of a gas at pressure P1 and temperature T. Now if the pressure is changed to P2 at the same temperature, the volume changed to V2. So according to Boyle's law, P1 V1 is also equal to P2 V2. So this is also the another statement of the Boyle's law, which says that product of the pressure and volume for a given mass of a gas at a constant temperature is constant. That means if the pressure is half and the volume is double of its initial value, and if the pressure is double, then the volume is halved. Next law is the Joules's law. This law gives the relationship between volume and temperature of a gas at a constant temperature for a fixed amount of gas. It was given in 1787 by a French chemist, Jacques Charles, and was further developed by Gay-Lussac in 1802. Joules's law states that at constant temperature, the volume of a given mass of a gas increases or decreases by 1 upon 273 of its volume at 0 degrees Celsius for each 1 degree rise or fall in temperature. So this is given by these equations. So it can be shown that in this graph we can see that there is decrease of temperature and which results in the decrease in the volume of gas. The volume of the gas below 0 degrees Celsius will be less than V0. Here V0 is the volume of a given mass of a gas at 0 degrees Celsius. And ultimately the volume should become 0 at minus 273 degrees Celsius. So therefore minus 273 degrees Celsius is the lowest possible temperature at which the gas is supposed to occupy 0 volume. That means the gas ceases to exist. So this lowest temperature, which is minus 273 degrees Celsius at which the gas ceases to exist, is called the absolute zero. A British scientist, Lord Kelvin, suggested a new scale of temperature based upon this choice of zero. This is called absolute scale of temperature or Kelvin temperature scale. So Kelvin temperature is equal to Celsius temperature plus 273. So there is another statement of Joules's law which may be stated as at constant pressure the volume of a given mass of a gas is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. So if V1 is the volume of a certain mass of a gas at temperature T1 and pressure P, and if the temperature is changed to T2 keeping pressure constant, the volume changes to V2. Then according to Joules's law, V1 upon T1 is equal to V2 upon T2 at constant pressure. Next is the Avogadro's law. This law relates the volume of a gas to the number of molecules at constant temperature and pressure. It was put forward by Avogadro in 1811. This law states that equal volume of all gases under similar conditions of temperature and pressure contain equal number of molecules, irrespective of the nature of gas. It is known that 1 mole of any gas contains 6.023 into 10 raised to power 23 molecules. Also that 1 mole of all gases at 273 Kelvin and 1 atmospheric pressure occupy a volume of 22.4 liters. This means that as long as the temperature and pressure remains constant, the volume of the gas is directly proportional to the number of molecules. Next is the Graham's law of diffusion. Graham's law of diffusion states that rate of diffusion of a gas is inversely proportional to the square root of density of the gas at constant pressure. R is inversely proportional to 1 upon under root D. R is the rate of diffusion of gases and D is its density. So when the two different gases are under consideration, then according to the Graham's law, the rate of diffusion of different gases are inversely proportional to the square root of their densities under similar conditions of temperature and pressure. Mathematically, it can be expressed as equation 1. Further, we know that 2 into vapor density is equal to the molecular mass. So this equation 1 can be written as equation 3. That is R1 upon R2 is equal to under root of M2 upon M1. So if the two gases diffuse under different pressure, say P1 and P2, then the rate of diffusion varies directly with pressure. In other words, greater the pressure, greater is the rate of diffusion. Next is the Dalton's law of partial pressure. This law states that pressure of the mixture of non-reacting gases contained in a vessel to their individual pressures. At constant temperature, the pressure exerted by a mixture of 2 or more non-reacting gases and closed in a definite volume is equal to the sum of the individual pressure which each gas would exert if the pressure alone in the same volume at the same temperature. So individual pressure of the gas is known as its partial pressure. Mathematically, Dalton's law can be written as P is equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3. So here P is the total pressure of the mixture of the non-reacting gases. Now the kinetic theory of gases. Kinetic theory of gases was the first theoretical attempt to explain the behavior of the gases. The various gas laws were based on the experimental facts. There was no theoretical background to justify them. So in order to account for the observed properties of gases, a model was proposed which takes into consideration the molecular nature as well as kinetic nature of the gases. In the 19th century, Maxwell, Boltzmann and Clossius put forward a theoretical model known as kinetical molecular theory of gases, which provided theoretical basis for various gas laws. The main postulates of this theory are given below. All gases are made up of large number of extremely small particles called molecules. The molecules of a given gases are identical in size, shape and mass. The molecules of gas are separated from one another by such large spaces so that the actual volume occupied by the molecules is negligible as compared to the total volume of the gas. There are no attractive forces between the molecules of the gas. They move completely independently. The molecules are in a state of ceaseless and random motion in all directions. During their motion, they collide with one another and also with the walls of container. The collision of the molecules with one another and with the walls of container are perfectly elastic, so that no energy is lost during collisions. However, the energy may be redistributed between molecules during collisions. The pressure of the gas is due to collision of the gas molecules against the walls of the container. Due to collisions, the molecules possess different velocities and hence different kinetic energies. However, the average kinetic energy of the molecules is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. The motion of the molecule is unaffected by the force of gravitation. Now the Maxwell distribution of velocities and energies. Maxwell in 1886 pointed out that distribution of speed remain constant at a particular temperature. Although the individual speeds of the molecules may change, which implies that the fraction of molecules with a particular speed remain constant. So according to kinetic theory of gases, the gas molecules are moving rapidly at random in all directions. Hence they undergo collision with each other and also with the walls of the container. Due to frequent collisions, speeds and direction of the molecules keeps on changing. Therefore, all the molecules in a given sample of the gas do not possess the same speed. Even at a particular temperature, the speeds of different molecules keeps on changing. Most of the molecules have speeds close to average and relatively few molecules have speed far above or far below the average value. The manner in which the molecules of the gases are distributed over the possible range of speeds from nearly zero to high values was worked out by Maxwell. So there are different types of molecular velocity, like most probable velocity, average velocity and the root mean square velocity. So what is root mean square velocity? It is the square root of arithmetic mean of the squares of different velocities of the molecules of a gas at a given temperature. Here V1, V2, V3 are the velocities of n different molecules. Root mean square velocity can also be expressed by the equation mu is equal to 3RT upon m or 3PV upon m or 3P upon rho. Here rho is the density. Now next is the average velocity. It is the average of the different velocities of all molecules present in a given sample of a gas at a particular temperature. An average velocity can be expressed as under root of 8RT upon pi m. And the next one is most probable velocity. As the name suggests, it is the velocity possessed by the maximum fraction of the total number of molecules of a gas at a particular temperature. And it can be expressed as under root of 2RT upon m. M is the molecular mass of the gas. Collision diameter. It is the closest distance of approach between the centers of the two molecules when they just touch each other during a collision. So kinetic theory treats the molecules as elastic spheres. Therefore, during collisions, the gas molecules are assumed to be rigid, non-interacting spheres with diameter sigma. It is also assumed that all molecules move with the same speed, that is the average speed mu. So here this is the first collision property of the gas molecule, which is the collision diameter. And the next one is collision number. According to the kinetic theory, we assume that molecules of the gas are in a constant random motion and are continuously colliding with each other. So the gas molecules are assumed to be rigid spheres of diameter sigma. The collision occurs only when the distance between the centers of the two molecules lie within the collision diameter sigma. So collision number is the number of collisions made by one molecule with other molecules in 1 second. This is the collision number. And collision frequency is the number of molecular collisions occurring per second, and per unit volume of the gas is called collision frequency. Mean free path. The gas molecules are constantly moving randomly and are colliding with one another. A molecule moves in a straight line before colliding with other molecule. The distance traveled by a molecule before collision with another molecule is referred to as free path. As the molecular motion is random, so the distance traveled by a molecule before colliding with other molecule is not always same, as we can see in this figure. Sometimes the molecule travels short distance before collision, while at the other time it may travel long distance to collide. Therefore, we take the average distance traveled by a molecule before colliding with other molecules. So, mean free path is the average distance traveled by a molecule between two successive collisions. It is denoted by symbol L. So, L is equal to 1 upon under root 2 pi sigma square n. So, this equation indicates that mean free path doesn't depend upon the speed of molecules. Mean free path varies inversely with the square of molecular diameter sigma. That means larger the molecular size, more frequent will be the collisions, and consequently shorter will be the mean free path. Mean free path depends inversely on the number of molecules per unit volume of the gas. Hence, as the pressure increases and also the number of molecules increases, the mean free path decreases. Now, the deviation of real gases from ideal behavior. We know that ideal gas which obeys gas laws at all temperatures and pressures, and the real gas which do not obey these laws. So, there is a deviation of real gas from this is ideal behavior. So, an ideal gas obeys gas laws or the ideal gas equations under all conditions of temperatures and pressures. In fact, no gas is ideal. Almost all gases show deviation from ideal behavior. The real gas obeys gas laws only under certain conditions of temperature and pressure. The magnitude of deviation from ideal behavior may be seen from the deviation from the Boyle's law. So, according to the Boyle's law, PV is equal to constant at constant temperature. Hence, for an ideal gas, the plot of PV versus P, as we can see in this figure, should give a straight line parallel to Psiska. However, we do not get a straight line. So, there is a significant deviation from the ideal behavior. So, we can see there is a two type of curves are obtained. First one is gases like hydrogen and helium obey Boyle's law and very low pressures, but PV increases continuously as the pressure increases. Gases like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, methane show decrease in PV in the beginning, passes through a minimum and then increases continuously with pressure. So, in case of the real gases, the deviation from ideal behavior is measured in terms of compressibility factor Z. Z is equal to PV upon nRT. So, in case of ideal gas, Z is equal to 1 and it is independent of temperatures and pressure. It is and for real gases, it is either 1 greater than 1 or less than 1. So, we have studied that real gases show nearly ideal behavior only at low temperatures, low pressures and moderately high temperatures. So, in order to explain the deviation from ideality, van der Waals pointed out two assumptions. These faulty assumptions are: the molecules are considered as point masses and the volume occupied by the gas molecules is negligible as compared to the total volume of gas. The force of attraction between the gas molecules are negligible and the molecules move independently. So, So these two assumptions are valid only at low pressures and high temperatures. So under the conditions of high pressure and low temperature, total volume of the gas is quite small. So consequently, the distance between the molecules decreases and intermolecular forces of attraction become appreciable and cannot be ignored. So the general equation, which is PV is equal to nRT, is applicable to ideal gases only. So in order to get an equation applicable to real gases, the ideal gas equation was modified by van der Waals by introducing two correction terms, one for the finite volume and other for intermolecular forces of attraction and repulsion between the gas molecules. So the volume occupied by the molecules is not negligible in comparison to the total volume. So as a result, the volume of the gas is smaller than the observed volume to get the ideal volume. So for n molecules of gas, the correction term is Nb. So the corrected volume available is V minus Nb. Similarly, for the pressure correction, An square upon V square is the pressure correction. So inward pull जो है, that is directly proportional to the number of molecules per unit volume in the bulk of gas and the number of molecules striking the wall per unit area at any given temperature. So there are some intermolecular forces of attraction which exist between the molecules of real gases at low temperature and high pressure. Calculation of Boyle's temperature. So the Boyle's temperature is Tb is equal to A upon Rb. So the Z versus P curves of the same gas at different temperature show that at low pressure the curves show a minimum. As the temperature is raised, the minimum in the curve shift upwards. At an intermediate temperature called the Boyle's temperature, the value of Z remains close to unity over a large range of pressure. In other words, at Boyle's temperature, a real gas obeys Boyle's law, that is PV is equal to constant for a large range of pressures. Thank you.